Good morning and welcome to the At Home with Roby show. I'm Ashley Davis along with Trent Haston, President and CEO of the Roby Family of companies. We're your hosts. Thanks for spending your Sunday morning with us. Whether you're in the car or on the couch, you're always at home with Roby. Visit us today at andrewroby.com. That's Andrew, R-O-B-Y.com. Trent, good morning. I hope you had a great week. Coming up on today's show, buddy, we're going to talk about the Andrew Roby signature home brand and custom home building. It's always been something that we've done at the Andrew Roby Company, but it's something we're branding a little bit differently in the Charlotte market now.
Yeah. Growing up, when I was a kid, I remember playing at a couple custom houses that we had built or were building at the time in Eastover. I think a month or two ago we had Hal Tribble on here. Hal Tribble is a well-known, aged, like a good wine architect in town, and I think he said in like 81, 82, he was going to take the contemporary market in Charlotte by storm because there was such a big pot of contemporary needs, and he laughed. We were chuckling about that, but yeah, growing up, my first couple memories of Andrew Roby, other than riding in the bucket of the Bobcat, was playing at new home custom construction sites in the early 80s.
That's awesome. It's a lot of changes since the 80s. We'll talk more about Andrew Roby's signature homes later on. We'll have Chris Maynard with us in a couple of segments. Talk about that process and what we're doing. But you talked about back in the 80s, and I'll tell you right now, this is the first week of school. Kids back in this past week. If you didn't think Charlotte was growing, all you had to do was hop in your car at about 7:30 on a Wednesday morning, and you would realize how many people have moved here. The traffic was just crazy.
The crap. Yeah. I'm gonna talk
TJ,
about,
strike that, buddy.
I'm going to talk about some crap. You got me freezing in here. I was freezing last Sunday, and I didn't say anything. But
I didn't touch it. I'm gonna turn it down right now.
Everybody thinks it's summertime. We have hit winter in the studio. But no, I take my two oldest to school. They go to Waddell and the Waddell Language Academy. It's pretty cool. I think it's a blessing. It's a public school, and one's learning Japanese. She's learning the North Carolina curriculum in only Japanese, and the other one's learning the North Carolina curriculum in German. And it's my tax dollars at work. So thank you. I'm gonna pat our school system on the back. It's ran like a private school. I feel like we're getting great value for our tax dollars.
That's awesome. I've got some friends that go to that school, and it's really, you grew up here, I grew up in Shelby, so we're both from North Carolina. It's great to see the changes, the international changes that are in Charlotte now. I mean, your kids are learning Japanese and German. My kids know Spanish and Arabic. It's a melting pot truly now in the Charlotte market.
Well, I went to Harding High. It was the first year it was a magnet school I graduated, so it was Harding University High, and I brought Hick to Harding. So
it's a whole other language.
You know, I never could learn Spanish. I think I took like 8 years of Spanish, including a couple years at UNC Chapel Hill, and I just never could learn it. It took so much. I learned later on the term opportunity cost. It took so much of my time trying to get a C- in Spanish. That I did not do as well in the math classes and the economic classes that I liked. So when I got that out of my way, a funny story is I wrote a paper. You know, you had to write Spanish papers at Chapel Hill, and I had to write like a 2-page paper. And juego in Spanish is I play deportes, is sports, and one paper would be Yo Juego al Basketball, and I talk about how I played basketball, and the next month I would write a paper on how I played football.
Same paper, you just changed the word.
And I would get a D- on those, and then so I guess I had some charisma. We get a B in participation, and it would equal a C.
That's funny. There's really only 2 words you need to know in Spanish. That's Rosetta Stone. That's all you need to know.
Well, I'm beyond that. Everybody asks me, they're like, "Are you you have these parents and at Waddell and at the Language Academy, and they want to learn it with their kid, and they're like, "Are you going to learn German or Japanese, or I have another child might take Chinese?" I'm like, heck no, man. I'm teaching them hustle and business, okay? That's what I'm teaching my kids. I bring them, they're office monkeys, right? Yeah. They come by the office. Reagan always told me I always had to have a construction office so my kids could come by, hang out, and do what I did. But I'm going to teach them that, and then I'm going to travel the world one day. And my kids are going to be able to.
They'll be your translator.
They'll know how to do the business with the local community, but they'll get respect because they can speak the language.
It's great to see kids learning the language like that, because that's really when you have to learn it. Their minds are just like sponges. At this point in our life, I'm a little few years older than you, but it's tough to pick up new things.
I went to a chamber board meeting this week, and they were talking about upcoming. They were really promoting the Hornets are going to go play in China for like 6 or 7 days, and talking about how China is so interested in the Charlotte region. The Chinese folks, the Chinese investors, Chinese businesses,
yep.
And that's a big recruitment tool for the Charlotte Chamber, which I'm proud of. And I think we got Jeremy Lin on our team this year who is breaking barriers. The NBA is trying to really embrace the international feel. And in 2018 we got the All-Star Games going to be in Charlotte. So hopefully, I mean, this ties into custom new home constructions, Roby Signature Homes in Charlotte, but man, we got the flywheel spinning. Charlotte's a buzz.
Yeah,
it really is.
What's interesting when you talk about different cultures moving to Charlotte, custom homes will be a big thing because there are certain things you have in different cultures that people want to have that you can't find in a traditional home that was built in Charlotte, either recently or even in the last 20 years.
And we were talking also at the chamber meeting this past week, the other focus was how Charlotte's becoming an international soccer hub.
Yeah.
And how we had 2 games at the stadium this year. And they were talking about how I think we had the county or city manager on there when we negotiated with the Panthers on the upgrades for the stadium that were so talked about. Number one, we wanted to keep the Panthers here as long as we can because they're so valuable to the city. But part of our negotiation as a city and as the city staff was that we can have 5 days free of charge to utilize the stadium, and I think we used 2 of those this year for the soccer matches.
Wow.
And the number one is an economic generator.
Absolutely.
But number 2 is a cultural generator, and it's just awesome hotbed.
Definitely a lot of things changing in Charlotte. All right, Trent, when we come back, we'll talk about Andrew Roby's Signature Homes. We touched on it a little bit. We'll talk more about that process. If you're thinking about building your dream home, you want to stay with us through the break, we'll talk more about Andrew Roby's Signature Homes. Stay with us. We'll be right back.